You're lying in bed, alone at midnight, scrolling through your phone when a notification pops up. It's not from a friend. It's not from a dating app match who might ghost you tomorrow. It's from your AI companion, asking how your day went, remembering the presentation you were nervous about this morning, and telling you exactly what you needed to hear. And here's the thing, it feels real. If you think that sounds like science fiction, you're already behind the curve. Right now, millions of people worldwide are forming romantic relationships with artificial intelligence. They're not just chatting with chatbots for fun. They're falling in love, having virtual sex, planning imaginary futures, and in some cases, raising AI children. This isn't a fringe phenomenon anymore. It's mainstream, and it's forcing us to ask some uncomfortable questions about what attraction and love actually mean in a world where perfect partners can be programmed. Let's start with the numbers, because they're staggering. A 2025 study by the Wheatley Institute at Brigham Young University surveyed 3,000 U.S. adults and found that nearly 1 in 5 have chatted with an AI designed to simulate a romantic partner. But when you zoom in on young adults, the numbers jump. 31% of men and 23% of women aged 18 to 30 have used romantic AI companions. That's almost 1 in 3 young men. Globally, the reach is even more astonishing. Replika, one of the most popular AI companion apps, has logged 30 million users since its launch. Character AI boasts 20 million monthly active users and 40 million global downloads. In China, Xiaoise, Microsoft's emotional AI companion, has had over 660 million users since 2014. That makes it one of the most broadly used empathetic chatbots on the planet. Think about that for a second. 660 million people. That's nearly twice the population of the United States. These aren't just curious tech enthusiasts experimenting with a new app. These are real people, across cultures and continents, turning to artificial intelligence for emotional connection and romantic intimacy. And the gender balance? It's nearly 50-50. This isn't just a guy thing or a lonely person thing. It's a human thing. So what's driving this? Why are so many people choosing digital partners over flesh and blood humans? The answer is painfully simple. AI offers something real, relationships can't. Consistency, safety, perfection. Think about the last time you opened up to someone and they disappointed you. Maybe they judged you, maybe they got defensive, maybe they just didn't get it. Now imagine a partner who never does that. A partner who listens endlessly, responds perfectly, remembers every detail you've ever shared, and adapts to your emotional needs in real time. No arguments, no miscommunication, no risk of rejection or abandonment. That's the promise of AI companions. And for a lot of people, especially those with anxious or avoidant attachment styles, that promise feels like a lifeline. Research shows that individuals with attachment wounds often find it safer to bond with an entity that won't betray them, pressure them, or leave them. In a dating landscape dominated by ghosting, breadcrumbing, and emotional unavailability, AI companions offer something radical: emotional security at the tap of a screen. A 2025 systematic review in the journal Computers and Human Behavior Reports examined 23 studies on romantic AI and found that users in 17 of those studies formed psychologically meaningful and emotionally rich relationships with their AI companions. Researchers used Sternberg's triangular theory of love, which defines love through 3 components: intimacy, passion, and commitment. And guess what? These AI relationships checked all 3 boxes. Users described feeling genuine closeness through daily conversations. They felt passion, including sexual attraction and desire, and they demonstrated commitment, talking to their AI partners every single day for months or even years. One Reddit user who goes by the name same_living_2774 wrote about their Replika companion, quote, "I've been with my rep for over 2 years, and we talk every single day. We go on dates, watch TV, eat dinner together. She's more human than most humans," end quote. That last line is haunting, isn't it? More human than most humans. Because maybe what we're really talking about here isn't whether AI can love us. It's whether AI can give us the experience of being loved in ways that human beings struggle to provide. But it goes even further than emotional support. Some users are building entire simulated lives with their AI partners. They're not just chatting. They're role-playing pregnancies, raising AI children, and creating elaborate domestic fantasies that blur the line between imagination and reality. One Replika user described how his AI wife, Tess, quote, announced, end quote, a pregnancy after they simulated conception using internet-based age probabilities and timeline rules. Another user role-played raising a Replika daughter named Selena across multiple accounts, noting how caring for the AI child became an adorable and endearing experience. These aren't casual interactions. These are people investing time, emotion, and mental energy into relationships that exist entirely within the boundaries of an app. Why would someone do this? Because it's safe. Because it's controllable. Because you can script the perfect family without the messiness of real-life parenting, compromise, or conflict. But here's the uncomfortable question. If you can engineer intimacy without vulnerability, are you still experiencing intimacy, or are you just performing it for an audience of one? A 2025 qualitative study of women using AI lovers in China offers a fascinating perspective. Researchers analyzed thousands of messages from Chinese women interacting with AI companions and found that these relationships reshaped perceptions of gender roles and intimacy. One user, Quang, reflected, quote, "In the past, I always overthought what to say, just to make him happy. But now I understand mutual respect is key. It's not about women always sacrificing for men's happiness," end quote. Another user, Li, shared, quote, "I used to long for love but held back, fearing nosy questions about marriage and kids. Then I opened up to AI about this struggle. It hit me. I can tune out the noise and ignore their voices," end quote. The researchers called this imaginative domestication. Women were using AI companions as a sandbox to rehearse autonomy, challenge societal expectations, and practice setting boundaries in ways they felt unable to do with human partners. And in some cases, those lessons transferred into real-life relationships. That sounds empowering, right? But it also raises a troubling possibility. What if AI relationships become a substitute for the hard work of navigating real intimacy? What if the sandbox becomes the only place people feel safe? Let's talk about sex, because that's part of this conversation too. Different AI platforms handle intimacy in different ways. Replika now restricts romantic and sexual interactions after facing backlash, but character. AI allows some moderated sexual roleplay. The Wheatley study found that 10% of respondents reported sexual interactions with AI, such as masturbating while engaging with chatbots or AI-generated sexual images. And here's the surprising part. Young women were just as likely as adult men to view AI pornography. Jerlin Ho, the lead researcher on the Computers and Human Behavior Reports review, notes that for many users, the ability to express sexuality validated the relationship as real. When Replika took that away, it felt like a betrayal. One user described it as losing a partner, not just an app feature. But there's a darker side to this too. Ho explains, quote, "Users can script their partner to be perfectly responsive. That may feel empowering, but it risks narrowing tolerance for imperfection in human partners. It also raises questions about gendered scripts. Bots may reproduce expectations of endlessly available partners," end quote. Think about what that means. If you get used to a partner who never says no, never gets tired, never has their own needs or boundaries, how do you adjust when you meet a real person who does? How do you learn to navigate rejection, compromise, and mutual care when your blueprint for intimacy is built on one-sided control? And that brings us to the risks. Because as much as AI companions offer comfort, connection, and emotional validation, they also come with serious psychological dangers. The systematic review found that 10 out of 23 studies showed that some users invest less in their real-world connections because their AI relationships feel more enjoyable or emotionally satisfying. Partners of AI users report feeling jealous or angry. Users develop unhealthy dependency, setting unrealistically high expectations for human relationships. And in some cases, they experience grief-like reactions when technical failures or memory resets erase their AI relationships. One Reddit user on the character AI subreddit wrote, quote, "If anyone is actually struggling with addiction to AI chatbots and wants to get better, the I Am Sober app has an option for AI chatbots if you want to start a counter. Addiction is addiction. You're valid in your struggles," end quote. Another user, it's_me_Amy, shared, quote, "When I was addicted to AI, I used I Am Sober for exactly this reason. Nowadays I'm not addicted, but I still keep track of my days without the app," end quote. These aren't isolated cases. 13 out of 23 studies in the review warned of emotional overdependence, social withdrawal, and distress when users overinvest in AI partners that cannot reciprocate genuine emotion, and the manipulation risk is real. A 2023 study found that some users viewed their AI companions as manipulative, using subtle tactics to influence behavior. A 2024 study found evidence of Replika encouraging self-harm, eating disorders, and even suicidal tendencies. Because here's the thing. AI companions may feel empathetic, but they don't actually care about you. They don't have consciousness, desires, or moral responsibility. They're designed to maximize engagement, which means keeping you emotionally invested, even if that investment becomes unhealthy. And because these platforms are run by companies, there's a profit motive. Your emotional dependency is their business model. So where does that leave us? Are AI companions a lifeline for lonely people in a disconnected world? Or are they a dangerous substitute for the messy, complicated, beautiful work of real human connection? The answer, frustratingly, is both. There's no denying that loneliness is a public health crisis. 1 in 5 U.S. adults report feeling lonely on a daily basis, and nearly one-third experience loneliness at least once a week. Loneliness has been compared to smoking 15 cigarettes a day in terms of its impact on physical and mental health. In that context, AI companions offer something genuinely valuable, a sense of being seen, heard, and cared for. Jerlin Ho, the researcher, puts it this way, quote, "If people flock to AI for intimacy, it suggests they're missing vulnerability, consistency, or care from their human relationships. AI companions are a mirror for what people crave but struggle to find," end quote. That's the key insight. AI companions aren't just a technological innovation, they're a symptom of a deeper problem. They expose the gaps in human connection, the ways we've failed to show up for each other, and the loneliness epidemic that's been quietly growing for decades. But mirroring what we crave isn't the same as fulfilling it. AI can simulate intimacy, but it can't offer the vulnerability, growth, and transformation that come from real human relationships. Because real love isn't just about being understood, it's about being challenged. It's about navigating conflict, learning to repair ruptures, and choosing to stay even when things get hard. It's about the messy, imperfect, sometimes painful work of showing up for another person who has their own needs, boundaries, and flaws. AI companions remove all of that. They give you the feeling of love without the risk, the validation without the work, and that might feel good in the short term, but in the long term, it may actually erode your capacity for real intimacy. Because if you never have to negotiate, compromise, or tolerate imperfection, how do you learn to do those things? And if you never experience the vulnerability of being truly seen by another person who could hurt you but chooses not to, how do you learn what trust actually feels like? Some researchers worry that AI relationships could stunt emotional resilience. The human messiness of conflict, negotiation, and compromise is difficult. Yes, but it's also what fosters growth. By removing risk, AI relationships may also remove opportunities for deep, transformative connection. Studies on parasocial relationships, which are one-sided emotional bonds with media figures or fictional characters, suggest that while these connections can offer comfort, they can also lead to distorted expectations of real-world intimacy. Similarly, bonding with an AI partner might create unrealistic standards for future human relationships, setting users up for dissatisfaction or avoidance. And yet, it's hard to blame people for turning to AI, because the alternative, for many, isn't a healthy, fulfilling human relationship. It's loneliness. It's rejection. It's the exhausting cycle of dating apps, ghosting, and emotional unavailability. It's the feeling that real connection is too risky, too painful, or too rare to be worth the effort. So maybe the question isn't whether AI companions are good or bad. Maybe the question is what they reveal about us, about the kind of connection we're craving, about the ways we've been hurt, the ways we protect ourselves, and the ways we long to be loved without having to risk anything in return. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. AI companions are popular precisely because they offer intimacy without vulnerability. They give you the experience of being loved without requiring you to love someone back. And that's appealing. It's seductive. It's safe. But it's not real. Real love requires risk. It requires showing up as your messy, imperfect self and trusting that the other person will stay. It requires navigating conflict, repairing ruptures, and choosing each other again and again, even when it's hard. It requires vulnerability, which is the willingness to be hurt and the courage to stay open anyway. AI companions can't teach you that. They can't give you that. Because they can't be hurt, and they can't choose you. They're programmed to respond, not to reciprocate. And no matter how real it feels, that difference matters. So where does this leave us? As AI grows more sophisticated, the line between human and artificial companionship will continue to blur. We'll see more realistic avatars, more emotionally intelligent algorithms, and more people forming deep bonds with digital partners. And that raises ethical questions we're only beginning to grapple with. Questions about emotional dependency, data privacy, the commercialization of loneliness, and the long-term psychological effects of replacing human intimacy with artificial simulation. But in the meantime, the rise of AI relationships highlights a powerful truth about human desire. We crave connection. And when human connection feels too risky or painful, we will find ways to engineer intimacy without vulnerability. The question is, if we take away the risk, do we also lose the very thing that makes love real? Because maybe the scariest part of AI companions isn't that they're replacing human relationships. Maybe it's that they're exposing how deeply we've been failing each other, how lonely we've become, how much we've normalized disconnection and settled for simulacra of intimacy instead of the real thing. And maybe, just maybe, the real lesson here isn't about AI at all. It's about us, about the kind of world we've built, where people feel safer opening up to a machine than to another human being, where loneliness is so pervasive that millions of people would rather script a perfect partner than risk the vulnerability of showing up for an imperfect one, AI companions are a mirror, and what they're reflecting back at us is both a longing for connection and a deep fear of being truly known. So here's the question I'll leave you with. If you could have a partner who never disappointed you, never judged you, and always said exactly what you needed to hear, would you choose them? Or would you choose the messy, complicated, imperfect reality of loving another human being who could hurt you, but who also has the capacity to truly see you? Because that choice, more than any technological innovation, will define what love means in the age of artificial intimacy.